Welcome to Vista Motorhomes and our Chausson 720. We'd like to show you how everything works so you can make the most of your motorhome trip. This key fob operates the central locking for the cab of the motorhome. This is the ignition key, and this separate key operates the rear entrance door and all the lockers on the motorhome. To unlock the main entrance door, turn this key from vertical clockwise and back to vertical to open the door. To lock it again, turn anti-clockwise and again back to vertical, it's locked. This motorhome is diesel. The filler cap is here on the passenger side. It also uses AdBlue. If the AdBlue warning light on the dashboard were to come on, you'll need to fill with AdBlue, and this separate filler here with the blue cap. AdBlue is available at most petrol stations. If you were to accidentally get AdBlue in the diesel or vice versa, it's important that you don't start the engine and contact us immediately. There's a big garage, runs the full width of the motorhome. To open the garage doors, use the key and turn anti-clockwise to a vertical position. Do this top and bottom and use both handles to open the door. If you need more height in the motorhome, you can raise this bed using the winding handle. Attach the handle here, put it out at 90 degrees and turn clockwise to raise the bed. It will go all the way up, but I'm just going to bring it back down, turning anti-clockwise. To lock the garage, close the door, push both of these handles in and turn the key clockwise back to locked top and bottom. The hookup point for connecting to mains electricity is here. You'll find a hookup cable in your garage. Unwind this completely before you use it. There are two different ends. The end without the flap connects to the campsite power supply. The end with the flap connects to the motorhome. Push this in here so it's firmly clicked into place. You would then connect the other end to the electricity supply. To disconnect, push down here and it should easily pull out. If you want to connect at home, you'll also find an adapter in your rear garage. So connect that here and you'll be able to connect to a standard 3-pin socket. Inside this compartment, you've got your trip switches, fuses, and it's also where you fill with water. To unlock, turn both of these clockwise to horizontal and push in on both at the same time and it'll drop down. Inside this compartment here, you have your trip switches. If you're hooked up and don't seem to have power to the motorhome, this is one of the first things to check, that these are in the up position. Should anything fuse on the motorhomes, all your fuses are here and we do provide spare fuses. Water, pull out this tube here, unscrew the end and use the hose pipe supplied, just attached to the campsite drinking water tap, the other end in here. There's a gauge inside the motorhome that will tell you how much water is in the tanks. If you need to empty the fresh water tank, pull this brown lever up to the vertical position and turn on the pump so that the water flows out. You'll need to do this at a motorhome service point on your campsite. To close and lock this compartment, make sure it clicks shut and turn both of these locks back to vertical. To open the gas locker, use the key to turn anti-clockwise to vertical and pull out this lever. In here you have a propane or gas cylinder. These are always supplied in the off position for safety. To open it, turn this valve here anti-clockwise, turn that all the way out. There is an arrow on the top and also a label here to remind you which way to turn it. There's also a gauge here that will tell you how much gas you have. To start the flow of gas, you'll also need to push down on the top of this gauge. If you need to replace the gas cylinder during your hire, this can be exchanged for a like-for-like 6 kilo propane cylinder. You can exchange where you see the Calagas symbol. Lots of campsites and petrol stations do this. You should disconnect at the internal connection here using the gas spanner provided. Also undo the holding straps, replace with the new cylinder, reattach with the holding straps, reconnect at the internal connection and tighten with the gas spanner. Everyone's favourite bit, the toilet cassette. To unlock the compartment door, turn this lock clockwise to vertical and squeeze the knob here. When the light in the bathroom comes on to tell you that the toilet cassette needs emptying, to remove the cassette, you will pull up on this orange handle here and the cassette should easily pull out. If it doesn't easily come out, the valve might have been left open inside, so please check this. There's a handle that pulls out and also wheels, so you can pull this to the chemical toilet disposal point that you'll find on most campsites. To empty the toilet cassette when you get to the chemical toilet disposal point, first thing you'll need to do is twist out this orange pipe here and unscrew the grey cap from the end. This orange button here is an air valve that'll help the toilet cassette to empty out. When it is empty, you're going to need to give that cassette a swill out. So pull back the flap here, turn this dial. You'll find a hose at the chemical toilet disposal point. So you can give that a good swill out. When it's clean, you'll need to refill with toilet chemical. The toilet chemical is concentrated, so you'll only need about half a cup. So measure that into the cup. You can pour that in straight through the open valve. You'll then need to close that back up. So turn the orange dial to close the valve, push the flap back open, put the grey cap back on and twist in the pipe. Make sure the handle is clicked back into position, then slide this back into place. You'll see the orange handle will click down in here and show you that it's in exactly the right position. The outlet for the waste tank on the motorhome is on the driver's side, just behind the rear wheel. Look for this symbol and then look underneath the motorhome. You will see the grey outlet pipe with a lever above. You'll need a motorhome service point, which you'll find on most campsites, to empty the waste tank. So you would drive over the service point and then pull out this handle. The water flows out of the waste tank and into the drain on the motorhome service point. When it's stopped draining and the tank is empty, push this back in. If you're using the water heater on gas, you will need to remove this vent cover. There is a bit of a nap to it, so push down on the top and pull out from the bottom. To put it back on, hook it over on the top and just make sure it's tapped in at the bottom. If you're planning to use the bike rack, it's a Fiamma Carry Bike Pro, and you can check out the tutorials on the Fiamma website. The motorhome has a separate battery called a leisure battery, which runs most of the electrical systems on the motorhome. You'll operate most things from this control panel by the door. Turn it on by pressing the top left button here. The second button along turns on your 12-volt power system, which runs the lights and pump for your water on the motorhome. This is how you turn on the pump. You can hear it pumping there. You can leave this on whilst you're using water in the motorhome. I'd recommend you turn it off when you leave the motorhome or at night, because the noise of the pump priming might disturb you. This is just an exterior light. You'll see the light here that tells us we are plugged into a power supply. We are called being on electrical hookup. These buttons along the bottom will tell you the condition of various things. First one will tell you the condition of your leisure battery. That, in this case, it's fully charged. This will tell you the condition of your vehicle battery. This will tell you how much water you have in your tank. You can see in this case it's almost empty. and this is just a dimmer for the panel itself, which you might want to make less bright at night. Turn on the heater, just turn this switch to maximum. You'll see the green triangle in the centre. After a few minutes, warm air will start to blow out of the vents around the motorhome, and then you can adjust this to the temperature you want. To turn it off, just turn back to 0. You do need at least half a tank of diesel to use the diesel heater. This is simply because the takeoff is part way up the tank, so you can't run out of diesel by using the heater. Also on the control panel by the door, you'll find various light and power switches. This first switch here turns on the power to the TV aerial booster. The second switch turns on the power to the TV itself. This switch is for high level lighting. This switch is for low level lighting, and finally for an additional light by the door. The TV aerial booster and the solar panel controller are both in this cupboard behind the main control panel. The solar panel automatically charges both the vehicle battery and the leisure battery, so you don't need to do anything. To use the TV, first of all you'll need to push this silver button forwards. That means you can then slide the TV out, make sure it does clear the cupboard. If you want to rotate it to watch from the rear bedroom, there's a silver button underneath. Pull this down, which then allows you to rotate the TV. Same for bringing it back. Pull this button down and rotate it back into the forwards position. Make sure that button clicks back up into position, and you can then slide the TV away, and again make sure you hear a click so that you know that it's latched away safely. You'll find the TV remote in this cupboard. Remember that when you move location, you will need to retune the TV. Also on this panel, you'll find a mains socket. This will only work when you are plugged in to mains electricity on a campsite. There is a USB charging point here, 2 USBs. This is live off the leisure battery. There are mains 3-pin sockets by the door in the kitchen, and 2 more in the living room here and down below. There are additional lights on both sides in the front. The switches are just here behind the curtains, and there's also 2 additional USB sockets here. The table is height adjustable using this button here in the kitchen. You can also fold this table. Remember to pull this support out again when you fold it back out, and you can turn the table to put it in different positions. If there are more than 2 people travelling in the motorhome, you'll need to use the rear travel seats, which are underneath these sofas. Remove all these end cushions. You can then move these front cushions forward a bit out of the way. Just take these off for now and use this lever here, turn it clockwise while you fold up the seat and then let it go. You'll find the headrest under here, which you slot in place here by pushing these buttons inwards. Make sure you've got this other part of the seat belt out, and then you can just put the cushions back. The thicker one with the gap at the back goes on the bottom, the thinner cushion for the backrest, and slot the seat belt around it, and your seats are in travel mode. It's the same process for the seat on the passenger side, though the headrest is already on, and you will need to turn this big cushion sideways just so that you've got more leg room when sat in this seat. All the cupboards and drawers have locking catches, so push to open. Before you travel, make sure all the cupboards and drawers are closed and the knobs pushed in to make sure they're locked. The hob has 1 electric and 2 gas rings. If you're on a campsite, you can use this electric hob here. Just use the switch on the left to turn to various settings, and then 0 for off. If you don't have electricity, you'll need to use the gas hobs. So pretty much like you would do at home, just turn it on, use this igniter to ignite the gas, hold for a few seconds, and then you can adjust it or turn off. When you finish cooking, don't put the glass lid down whilst anything is still hot or whilst this electric plate is still warm. The oven and grill are both controlled with this knob here, so it's left for the oven or right for the hob, and again press the igniter. When you are using the grill, make sure that this is pulled out to protect the knobs and leave the door slightly open. This is a three-way fridge, so it'll operate on electricity, gas, or even from the vehicle battery while you're driving. To turn it on, press and hold this button here. Your mode selector is on the top right here, so you can select each of the individual power sources. So you've got vehicle battery, gas and electric. The easiest thing to put it on most of the time is auto, which will automatically select the best available power supply. The only exception to this is when you've been driving and need to go on to gas. You'll need to do this manually because there's a safety cutout that prevents the fridge from lighting on gas within 20 minutes of driving. So scroll through manually to the gas flame. You can adjust the temperature using this button here. If you need to turn the fridge off completely, press and hold this button here. For some additional workspace in the kitchen, you can pull up this shelf here, so it clicks into place, and then to fold it away, press these few buttons underneath and push down until it clicks. 10-litre boiler on the motorhome. The switches to operate it are in this kitchen cupboard. If you are on a campsite and plugged into electricity, you can use this switch on the right, which is for electric. You push it upwards for 50-degree hot water, which is fine for most things. Central position is off, and downwards for warmer 70-degree hot water if you want to have a shower or something like that, and back to centre for off. The switch on the left is to operate the boiler on gas, which you would do if you are not plugged into electricity. If you're going to do this, remember you will need to take off the cover on the outside of the motorhome. The operation of the switch is the same. Up for 50-degree hot water, centre for off, down for 70-degree hot water. If there is any problem with the boiler lighting, you will get a red light just in the rim here. That tells you it's not working. If you do get this red error light, first thing to check is, have you taken the cover off outside? Have you switched the gas on before trying to light the boiler? Finally, if it is very windy outside, it can be difficult for the pilot to light, so you might have to have another try at this. So just turn it back off and then start again. Before using the bed, make sure that the table is in the lowered position. Use this right hand button to lower the bed. It will go past the rear seat cushions and should rest on the cushions below. Before raising the bed to put it away, make sure that your bedding is flat, pillows side by side and not stacked on top of each other, so the bed will raise properly. If you want to use a second rear bunk in the bedroom, please ask us to set it up for you, as anything getting trapped whilst it's moving can stop it working. The bathroom light switch is here, just below the sink. The toilet itself has a bowl that can be rotated to get it in the best position. When you're using the toilet, the flush is the blue button on the panel behind the toilet. Press and hold this button to flush the toilet. Unlike your toilet at home, it doesn't have conventional plumbing, so you'll also need to open a valve at the bottom. You push this grey lever to the right to open the valve, and everything will fall through into the cassette below. Don't forget to then pull it back to the left to close the valve, so you don't have smells coming out of the toilet cassette. When the toilet cassette is full, you'll get an indicator light on the panel behind you to let you know to empty it. The shower door should always be latched for travel, so just pull up to unlock it and push to open, You can use this mat as a mat to step out on after you've showered. When you finish your shower, make sure the doors are closed and latched for travel. For additional ventilation in the shower, turn this dial to raise the skylight. Always make sure it's closed before travel. To open this skylight, pull out this lever and turn clockwise to raise the skylight, anti-clockwise to lower it. Before travel, make sure it's lowered all the way and this lever clicked back in. There is a fly screen that pulls over from one direction and a night blind that pulls over from the other. Before attempting to open the main skylight in the front, you must open all these 4 catches. Push the button in the middle and turn. Do this for all 4 catches. Only then can you use this lever, pull it out and wind anti-clockwise to raise the skylight. Before travel, you must make sure that the skylight is fully lowered, handle clicked in, and all 4 of the additional catches are secured. This skylight also comes with a fly screen that pulls up from the bottom, and then you can also pull up this night blind. To open the windows, you need to press the small buttons in the centre of the handles, push and turn all the way around, and you'll move that out and it'll find a lock position. To get it back in, push it all the way out and pull back in and close the handles. All of the side windows operate like this. They also come with night blinds. Squeeze these 2 and pull up to close, and squeeze and pull down again to close. They also have fly screens which pull down and attach to here, and you can pull them up and down together if you want to. In the emergency toolkit, you've got various screwdrivers, pliers, wrenches, also various types of tape. There's also spare batteries for the carbon monoxide detector and TV remote, as well as hookup adapters for the hose in case they don't fit the tap on your campsite. The handbrake is on the right hand side of the driver's seat and is always down. So to put the handbrake on, just pull up as normal, but you'll notice the handbrake will drop back down. To take it off, pull up until you feel some tension, push the button in and drop down to take the handbrake off. You've got full instructions in your handover pack, which also includes your breakdown cover and motor insurance policy. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it can help you to make the most of your motorhome experience.